Okay, two questions for you. First of all, how's your family different because of that? What's that done in your wife's heart, in your life? What's different now that you're...
I think what Jamie would tell you is that it's given us a sense of one thing. You said, man, you got to know where every dollar is going. And what happens is when you know that, it gives you what we talked about last week, the vision as to where those monies go. God's given us our business, our plan, and we know and we have a vision for where those dollars are going. And we feel better about it at the end of the day when you lay down, you know where that money's going. I love one of the examples Dave Ramsey gives. One of the things he talks about is exhausting that checking account. So it's a zero balancing it at the end. So you know every dollar has had a name. It's either in savings, it's over here, it's being spent on these things. And so I really like that. And I would say Jamie would definitely tell you that it's given her a sense of security and peace, understanding that there's a plan, there's a vision, there's a direction for where we're headed, what we're doing. And one of the great things is people think to themselves all the time, and this I'm going to give a plug to my wife on this one, but they'll say, man, my wife will never go for that. She's a consummate shopper. She goes and she has to have her $150 a month to buy her purse and handbag and all these different clothes and accessories. Well, what I found is, man, if you'll have that vision and that unified thing you talk about, making it agreed upon, and you guys agree upon a vision for your family and for yourself and your finances, that both parties will willingly give up things because you have a goal and a plan. If you know where you're going, you'll willingly sacrifice for those things.
So she feels more secure.
Absolutely.
And are you guys saving regularly now?
Yes.
Yeah, because you have a plan.
Because we have a plan.
Yeah, that's a great feeling to know that you're 30 years old and you're saving.
And
the second question I was going to ask you is, spiritually, what sense does this do for you as a steward to be actually managing resources with a plan?
Oh, man, I'll tell you one of the greatest things I can remember was you talked about how quickly could you tell me you've given something. And my wife, her heart is a big giver, loves to give. And, you know, I've heard you talk about Amy getting the things in the mail. Man, Jamie's the same way, like cut from the same mold there. And it was really neat to be able to, within a second, pull up the end of the year for quick and say, hey, look how much money God blessed us with to be able to give back to His work and His kingdom here at Life Church, other ministries, all these things. And it was staggering for her to get to see that and be like, man. And then it's really neat, Craig, to be able to, as you track it year by year, you can see, man, we were able to give 10% this year. We were able to give 15 this year. Now we're at 18. And so it's really cool. It's just like celebrate God's goodness.
Good. It is good. Yeah.
One final question for you on some budgeting issues that people have asked about, and we'll try to wrap this up. What about people with an irregular income? They don't have a fixed income every month.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. Maybe they're commission sales or whatever. In 1 month, they make a huge check and they don't get paid again for 3 months or whatever. Yeah. So there's some good tools online to go to, and you can actually just type in, irregular income and budget on Google and find out some good tools. Really, the basics would be, the first thing you want to do is you want to prioritize your expenses. So you want to list in order what expenses are most important. Mm-hmm. In my mind, the first thing would be the tithe, that we worship God with the tithe. Then I'd put your house payment, I'd put food, and I'd go and list in order those things. And then when the money comes in, you pay your bills, not even in sense of urgency, but as much in priority. Then the second thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep a higher cash reserve than most people. So you're going to keep a bigger cushion. Then really over time, what you're going to do is you'll start to see some cycles over a 6-month period. I typically make this much. What you want to do is set your expenses. Here's what I need to live, and then take the additional and build a surplus with that. So it's not difficult. It is a little more difficult, and you have to think and work a little more than you would with a normal income. But good tools on the internet. Go and read those and make the plan.
Oh man, that's great, great advice there. For our podcast audience out there, could you give us a little sneak peek as to what we're going to be looking at in the upcoming weeks here on the podcast and this week's message?
Yeah, absolutely. Just where we've covered, and the start, we're going to create a vision for this business that God's given us, and we're not going to be swayed by the commercialism. We do not love the things in this world. We love the things of the kingdom of God. We do not serve money. Money serves us. Mm-hmm. Money serves the purposes of God. We're going to have a plan. We are planning for emergencies. We are getting out of debt, everything but the house. We're going to save up 3 months' living expenses. We're going to put it down on paper. Then what we're going to do is, in the upcoming weeks, is we're going to talk about knocking out the house eventually, which is very, very possible. Awesome. We're going to talk about investing for the future, and we're going to see the power of compounding interest and really the biblical thrust of planning, investing. And we're going to talk about kingdom investments. We're going to talk about profit sharing in this business. How, you're 30 years old. We hired you at $18,000 a year was your starting income, and you told me you recently gave 18% of your income. That's over the top, unbelievable, because you've been faithful over time. And we're going to see the benefits when God blesses you financially, and He will, as you've been faithful. He gives to those who are faithful. We're talking about giving big, and we're going to love it, and it's going to be great. And generations will be different because you're faithful.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. That's a great sneak peek, and I'm excited to see in these upcoming weeks. Thank you guys so much for joining us for week number 2 of our podcast for Mind Your Own Business. We're looking forward to those upcoming weeks of those things Craig talked about. And until then, you guys out there, mind your own business.